Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're new to this series, let me tell you how it works. I listen to albums throughout the week, some new albums, some older albums, and I pick the ones I want to give my opinion on and review them in this video. Remember, my opinion is mine and mine only, and you may have different opinions, so don't take anything I say too seriously. And if you do take it seriously, leave it down in the comments for real. Anyways, let's head on to the first album of today's video. The first album of today's video goes to Ya Veggies by Baby No Money. Information on the album. This would be his fifth project, and while it was supposed to drop in September through Discord and YouTube, it would eventually be pushed back, and fans would find out the official drop date was pushed back all the way to October, and they would also find this out because of the Apple Music pre-save album section. Information found on genius.com. Review. This is an album. You should know that by now that when I start off an album review by saying that it's gonna be bad. This project by Baby No Money was for sure 100% his worst project. While it did have some moments of spark, especially on I Remember, it also went to lows that I didn't even know were possible by him. Overall, this album lacked a lot from either poor beats, poor flow, poor pace, poor everything. Something that like all songs but three suffer from was writing department. And even though he is now an artist known for memeish songs, right? Now he's establishing himself. We obviously now know him as a more memeish artist guy. It's still a terrible excuse for this poor writing that he's giving out for these albums. Because, like, especially on I Remember, I need you guys to go listen to the song. I need you to go listen to these songs. Think of Baby No Money, his current music, his past music. Go listen to I Remember. If this is the Baby No Money we had today, he would genuinely be headlining Coachella already. Speaking about Coachella, that's something we talked about in Yap Time. But yeah, it's just a poor excuse to be making very poorly written songs when a song like I Remember in this project shows that he has good writing skills if he really wants to. Lastly, my standout songs are Resume, Yoga, and I Remember. Up next, we have Bag or Die by Baby No Money. Information on the album. Baby No Money was still trying to figure out how to properly drop an album, and he would also tell Apple Music that he wishes there were better stories when he would drop albums. He would also let them know that when artists drop an album, it's usually because they're either bored during a long time period or they're not on tour. Information from Apple Music. Review. I feel like this is a trend with this channel at this point where we go from a trash album by Baby No Money to a better-ish album by Baby No Money. Overall, this is a better album from Baby No Money, and that has way better writing, something that the last one lacked a lot, and production than his last album that we just went over. Many of the songs had great beats, and they're also well written for a Baby No Money project. Vocals also sounded great on most of the songs, and his flow and pace was able to stick well with the songs. Well, I'm not gonna be excited for his next album that we go over. I am happy I didn't have to do two shit albums in a row. Lastly, my standout song was B to the B. Up next, we have Mylo Xyloto, I think that's how you pronounce it, by Coldplay. Information on the album. While they were doing this album, they would end up writing two separate versions of the album, and later they would end up with something that they did not have in mind. After that, they would eventually come together and make a more stripped down version of the album. Information from Apple Music and Wikipedia. Review. Let's get into this review, shall we? Overall, this was a mixed bag of sounds into one album, and it worked out super well. The interludes on the album lets you know when it was going to go into a different sound, and it worked well as the interlude to the song would transition very nicely. Vocals, just like any other Coldplay project, are amazing, and there are zero complaints about me in this department. Rihanna also did cook up on Princess of China, and with the vibe of the song that I feel they were going for, there is no other better person they could have chosen for that song. Lastly, my standout songs are Hurts Like Heaven and Paradise. Up next, we have Ghost Stories by Coldplay. Information on the album. One tour, someone would tell Chris Martin, the lead singer of the band, about a poem by Rumi from the 13th century. After finding out about this, it would change his way of writing and it would lead him to, and the rest of the band to eventually drop Ghost Stories. Information from Apple Music. Review. Overall, this album was a miss for me. While it may have been on the shorter side song wise, it was still close to a 45-minute long project, and most of it was just them letting beats be beats. While I have done albums in the past where the entire album was just beats, aka when I did The Alchemist, aka when I did MF Doom, the issue that this brings up is with them, I know that they're beats, and I usually just tell you guys, hey, these are instrumental albums. I went over it, I like it or not. And I don't really give it a review. I don't really talk about it that much because I don't know how to review instrumental albums yet. I'm still looking to find a way, and I tried using this album. I just don't really know. I'm not that into. I'm okay. I'm much into music, but I'm just starting to get into music production. But I'm not comfortable enough to review the production only, right? So like instrumental albums, like let's say in the future when The Alchemist drops again, or some other artist that I listen to that does instrumentals as well, like a Metro Boomin. I don't think Metro would do something like that, but if for some reason he did, right? It's just not stuff that I would do. But the problem with this project, the Ghost Stories by Coldplay, was that it was more instrumental, and unlike MF Doom and The Alchemist, this did have some lyrics, and while there are some for The Alchemist, I don't remember for MF Doom, but there are. But for The Alchemist, there were some albums where they were mainly instrumentals and would have some words, but the focus wasn't the words; it was the instrumentals. For this one, you can tell they're trying to make the words a focus, but because it's mainly instrumentals, it's very hard for me to review this, and that's why this album ended up getting the very low amount of points for me, low rating. Right? If you go to Album of the Year website to my account, you will see that I gave this. I think it was a 50 something. Yo, so it was a terrible miss for me. The only song that I was able to like properly review lyric wise was a sky full of stars. But most of these songs just had little lyrics tied to them, causing this album to be a miss for me, as I did have to review the short lyrics, flow, and pace due to them being focused on instrumentals ish. This album was caused to lose many, many points. I don't think if going forward they continue this trend of instrumental, like if their next album, when we get to it next week, if it's only mostly focused on instrumentals and lyrics, then I'm gonna find a different way to review them because I don't want them to lose massive points for something they shouldn't be losing points for just because I can't be a proper reviewer. But that's what I have to say about this album. And lastly, my standout song was, of course, A Sky Full of Stars. Up next, we have Nibiru, I think I say that, by Ozuna. Information on the album. Ozuna would tell Apple Music that Nibiru began as science fiction, and he would also tell them that I'm always looking for a new sounds with my producers. Information from Apple Music. Review. Now we are on to Ozuna. And tell me why I love this album. I think it's a great album by him. But then I went online and people are trashing on this album. I don't get why. I enjoyed this album much and genuinely felt surprised at certain points. Overall, this album by Ozuna was great. The production of this project was great. What? Oh, the production side of this project was great. My fault. I can't read. And it was a fun time throughout the project. Lyrics are also very good on most songs, but there are a few songs where the lyrics ain't the best written. Vocals stayed the same and kept up with the level that he has given himself throughout these last couple of projects that we have gone over. There are also multiple features. There are also multiple features, and for me, the best feature was Sway Lee. And this goes back to what I'm talking about when we went over the Sway Lee project when he finally dropped his debut album, where when he is featured on a song, he is the best version of himself. So that's why everyone's very disappointed by his album. I really do hope that when he does drop his next album, it's not as shit as what the fuck that was. But back to Ozuna, Lee was the best feature on this project. I think Lee Dallin was on this as well. Let me quickly look at my notes. Wait, give me a second. I'm looking at my notes. I'm looking at my notes. Was it this project or is it it's the next one? My fault. But yeah, no, he did good. He was very nice on this project. And lastly, my standout songs are Hasta que salga el sol, Sin pensar, and Baila, Baila, Baila. Up next, we have Enoc by Ozuna. Information on the album. Ozuna was becoming a world popular superstar, and he would also drop this project as a surprise to all of his fans, leaving them in shock when he would drop this album. Information from Apple Music and Wikipedia. Review. Now we have Enoch. And well, this album was for sure overfilled with pure filler. So for previous Ozuna album, we talked about how he over added songs just to drag out the album for no reason. Unlike his last album, though, that followed the same pattern, this one did not have enough iconic songs or enough powerhouse songs to be able to keep up with the strength in this album, right? Overall, this album struggled a lot from the fact that it was way too long for no reason. While it wasn't the worst album we heard this week, it definitely did feel like a short listening to this album due to its length. While there are some songs in this project that make it feel somewhat worth it, It's still not worth it for how long the project was. While many of the songs had incredible production, many of these also struggled from the fact that they were placed in between shitty, shittily produced songs that made these albums just fade and they accidentally lose points because during my multiple listens, I would accidentally ignore a song and not realize till halfway through another song. And when that happens, it's not good. As for me, who's reviewing, because I do two separate reviews. I do the first review where I'm focusing on the album purely. Then my second review, it's a background review. I'll be playing video games. I'll be reading manga. I'll be cleaning my room. I find something to do at least in the background to see if anything stands out. And you know, and what ended up happening? I wouldn't realize that it would be on a whole nother song until halfway, right? Because something I try to do is I try to keep up, like, okay, can I tell what's going on? Can I still understand the lyrics? Can I still understand the beat? With this album, what ended up happening, right? I'm playing, what was I playing? GTA, right? I wasn't doing any like hardcore mission where it was my full focus. I'm gonna be honest. I went into GTA, went to a casino, $1 million, spent it all on gambling. I was just gambling, listening to music, right? But that's hopefully how I can retire and what I turned 20 this year. So what, like 40 years when I turn 60? Hopefully, please, God allow me to. But yeah, I was just gambling on GTA, right? And if I worked and if I wasn't gambling, I was doing payphone hits, and that's not really something you gotta focus on a lot. Or I was doing car exports, the exotic export where you find a car, you go deliver it to the dock, easy peasy. Or I was doing the selling missions, once again, easy peasy, not having to fucking put the motorcycle club. So, when it came to this album, I was like, okay, it's going to be a longer album, but as long as I can tell when it switches from song to song, as long as I can tell the beat, as long as I can listen to, that did not happen at all. This album failed on that part because there are so many songs. There's so many times throughout this project where I look at my notebook, then I look at my phone, and I'm like, oh shit, I missed a song. And when I miss a song, I write it, I write it down like missed, and that makes the album lose points, which sucks for the album. But that's something you need to be able to do, right? Because you need these songs to stand out always, no matter how many songs you make, right? I do this with so many artists. I've done this with rock. I've done this with pop. I've done this with hip hop. I'm doing it with reggaeton right now with Ozuna. I've done it with did I say rock? I've done it with lofi type songs. I did it with jazz songs. I've done it with so many. Once you can go into my videos, find out what albums I've listened to, what albums I've reviewed, and I've done it with those. Okay, maybe not like the very beginning, but that's what I'm doing now, right? And it does suck to see this be a thing. Hopefully his future projects won't follow this trend of like overfilling, just putting in this filler. I don't know if this is something that he has to do because his record label's like, oh look, we need how many songs does this album have? Like, oh, we need you need to at least release 20 songs per album because Nibiru, the one which just went over, had 18 songs, and last week the songs had 20, and then the other one had 16. And then was that when we started Osuna? Yes, that's when we started Osuna. So so maybe his record labels tells him, okay, when you drop an album, it has to have at least 15 or more songs. And if that's the case, then I feel bad for him, right? Because then he obviously has to release shit to meet these quotas. Because that shit's horrible. But if that's not the case, you're releasing shit just to release shit. I'm sorry, right? Like when this album dropped, it's not like right now where like records are having this insane comeback. I'm looking up this album to see when it released on Apple Music in a second. 2020. Yeah, it dropped during COVID, right? So vinyl sales were starting to pick up, but I don't think it was picked up enough where artists were focusing to like drop vinyls as well. And if he was focusing on vinyls, this album is shit. I really hope. How much did this sell? How much did this sell? Hold up, I'm looking. How many albums did Enoc by Ozuna sell its first week? It sold 21,000 to 22,000, and it landed in the number one top Latin albums. I mean, it was no September 2020. Okay, but it's still good. But Wait, roughly 1,000 to 2,000 were traditional pure album sales. Give me 1 second, cause I'm trying to figure it out. So I'm getting multiple different numbers. Some are so the main one, the first one that I read is the first one that I read is linked from Billboard and Wikipedia, right? The AI overview. Hmm. When I research albums, I don't use the AI overview. I go into Wikipedia. I go into genius.com. I go into Apple Music. Yes, I don't usually do this. I don't usually look up album sales, but I'm very interested because this album was us. No, I don't care less the most. Um, hmm. I don't know. Because now this one's saying that one says 1,000. I don't. Okay, I refuse to believe that Ozuna only sold 1,000 albums. Um, I don't know. It's a mixture between many. I'll stick to what Billboard has to say, which is 21,000. But still, it's just overfilled with a lot of filler. Something that it's just wasn't really necessary. And I hope that going forward, this isn't something that I'm having to complain about again, where I'm looking up record sales. But yeah, lastly, my standout songs are Una Locura and Caramel. Up next, we have Haunted by Fame by Offset. Information on the album. Offset would drop this album as a Halloween surprise. Two surprise albums in a row. And this album would be more of a fanfare album. While this was the second project he would drop in the year of 2025, the main album he was focused on, and the album that, was the main album of the year for him was Chiari. This was also an experiment by him and a nice treat for most of his devoted fans. Information from Apple Music. Review. Now we have an Offset album that I missed. So when I found out that he dropped an album a while ago and I didn't even hear about it, I was mad because I really loved when he dropped Kiara. I do love some of his previous work. I consider myself an Offset fan. When I found out the news that, he got shot, we'll talk about that during Yap Time. Hold up, let me write that down so I can remember. Give me a second, give me a second, give me a second, give me a second. Uh, cut. Okay. So yeah, when I found out that he dropped an album and I missed it, I was like, wait a minute, I missed it. I was mad, but I was excited at the same time because then that means I get to talk about Offset, and who doesn't want to talk about Offset? But now that I finished this album, it was absolute shit for me. Overall, this is a weak album by Offset. And while this may have been a surprise with fans, it was a bad surprise. It was a massive 50-50 album for me. And I don't know if I'd recommend you to go listen to this album. Outside my standout song, which is Fashion Icon, there's not really much to this album. Experimental, sure. This shit was beyond experimental, bro. Go back in the lab and start working on some other things, gang. Do not do this shit again. Obviously, I hope you get better. Music can wait. We know your situation. I'm gonna talk about it over Yap Time. So, get better first. Go back to the lab later. But when you can return to the lab, when you can return to the studio, do not do this shit again, please. For the love of God, do not do this shit again. This was ass. This was horrible. This is honestly horrible. When people tell me that Offset is the ass and I'm out here trying to defend Offset, if anyone points out to this album, I wish I shut the fuck up, lock it, what's it called? Zip it, lock it, throw it over the bridge. Cause I do not recommend this album for you. I don't know what was I don't know which one had the lower grade for me. If it was this one or if it was the Coldplay album, I'll let you know right now. Let me quickly look that up. So no, they got about the same score. Coldplay got a 55, and this album I gave it a 54. So. It's not the biggest of the differences, but still, it's not a good Offset album. So don't focus on this album. Don't go to this album. If you want to listen to a good album by him, Chiari is a beautiful album by him. And give me a second. There's another album by his that's very very nice, but I can't remember the name of it. Set It Off. There, yeah, that one's very good. Yeah, if you're gonna listen to any Offset album, Set It Off and Carry. That's all you need. That's all you need. Father of Four was nice. Without Warning was decent. Do not touch Haunted by Fame. I repeat, do not touch Haunted by Fame. And up next, the final album of this video, we have Worst Girl in America by Slayyter. Anyways, information on this album. When he would drop this album, she for a long minute thought that this would be her last album. She would also revisit my fault, revisit the sounds from her childhood and try to make a more authentic album by her. She would also say that this album was based off her frustration and anger of being called an up and coming artist. Information from Apple Music and Wikipedia. Review. So I missed this album when it first came out because if I remember correctly, when this album dropped, everyone and their mamas dropped. It was the week where it was like a 40-minute video. It was the Kanye West video. I'm pretty sure that's when this album dropped. I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, that's on me. This is the new album of the week because pretty much everything that did drop this week, nothing really interested me. There was that Snoop Dogg project, but I am planning to get to Snoop Dogg eventually. At some point, he is on my albums list. So I decided to just let it slide for now. But there was outside the Snoop Dogg project, there really wasn't anything else I wanted to check out. So I was like, let me go back because I remembered this project everyone was talking about, and that was this Worst Girl in America. And I decided, okay, let me listen to this because of course, this album been out for a while. I obviously saw some of the reviews that many people had to say, and many people were comparing this to Brat. Many people are saying, "Oh, this might be the next Brat Summer." What would this be? Worst American Girl Summer? Or yeah, that's probably it. And you know what? Never mind. I should answer my own question. But I see that, it's being compared to Brat, right? It's being compared to Brat Summer. That was an entire era, if you guys remember that. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, being compared to Brat. People are saying it's going to be the next Brat. I'm like, okay, this has to have some hype behind it. And I remember when this album first dropped on Album of the Year, if you went to the reviews to this album, anytime someone typed the letter S, the website would automatically change it to the letter S. It would automatically change it to the S symbol that you see on the album cover. On Airbuds, the app I use to track my music, it's the same thing. Anytime someone would listen to this song, the letter S would be covered all around their screen, right? So I saw the hype, and I got to the album. I'm happy. I'm excited. So what did I think? Overall, this is a great project. I see the hype. I see why the hype this album is getting, and it's for sure, with the hype. It's also very similar music style to Brat, so I see why people say this might be the next, will be the next Brat. I don't know about that one yet because even though there is hype for this album, it's still owning the music scene. The moment that I start seeing this be like Brad Summer, where you're starting to see this album hype everywhere else. What the fuck was that? Where you start seeing this album have hype everywhere outside the music scene. I think that's when it'll have its case for the next Brad. Of course, we still have some time, so I might be wrong. I might be right. I might be wrong. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Every artist deserves to have their albums blow up. Every artist worked very hard on their albums. Every artist deserves to be able to say, hey, I made a new era. That's one of the best flexes. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope this album does blow up for her and is the next Brat. The production of this album was amazing and some of the best that I've heard this week. Vocal wise, it was also very, very amazing. It was very nice and it puts up an amazing fight against some of these other bangers that have dropped this year. Lyrics are also very, very well written and go amazingly with this album. Something that, this week it slacked a little. There's good writing in some albums, good vocals in some albums, but it was more of an off week. But this album was great. It was beautiful. If you haven't heard this album yet, I actually recommend you go listen to this album. But that's something we'll talk about in a later segment because I already spoiled it because I'm stupid. Lastly, my standout songs are Beat Up Chanel, Old Technology, Gas Station, and ST Loser. I cut myself off early like the loser that I am. And before we continue with the video, I want to say a thank you to the partner of the channel, Medkit Mystery Boxes. If you don't know what they are, let me tell you. Medkit Mystery Boxes are gaming-related mystery boxes that you can get on a month-to-month subscription or a one-time purchase if you want to check it out for a month or give it to someone else. They have all types of boxes for the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, and the Xbox consoles, Nintendo Switch, and even PC. You can receive gaming accessories to help improve your gaming experience, gaming-related items to help decorate your room, and even good to try at home like chips, candy, and G Fuel packets for you to try at your house. If you're interested in trying them out, make sure to use my affiliate link down below or use code TrainDavid when checking out for a discount and to support the channel out. Anyways, guys, let's head back to the video. And once again, thank you to this partner of the channel. And up next, everyone's favorite part of these videos. It is standout albums of the week. Wow. If you don't know what standout albums of the week are, let me tell you. Standout albums of the week are albums that I pick. It's one or two albums that I pick from the week that I say you need to immediately go listen to the moment you click off this video. These are the albums that I either enjoyed the most or the albums that stood out to me the most, the albums that I think did the best this week. And, It's I'm blinking out. My fault. I froze there for a second. My fault. I'm sorry. But let's get to the first standard album of the week. The first standard album of the week goes to Nibiru. My fault. Nibiru by Ozuna. This album was great. This album was amazing. I don't care what people say. People can hate. You can hate. You can hate. You can't hate. Hate me. Hate me. Wish you never dated me. My fault. This album was great. I enjoyed it a lot. I still find it ridiculous how so many people are hating on it. I don't see the hate. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't see the hate. If you hate this album, I actually need you to tell me why you hate this album because the right, like I'm looking. My fault. My phone's ringing. It was on my fault. But it's like, people are complaining for no reason. Like this, someone, wow. This is why I think album of the year is like some of the worst review website, but it's the only one that like actually works 24/7. Unlike the other ones I've used that always go down for some reason. Someone gave it a 45 and just said male. Or is that supposed to be Male? Mal? Or I don't, I genuinely don't know. But people reviewing this album so low. It's not my highest ranked album, don't get me wrong, but it's a very good album. This album was great. I enjoyed this album a lot. It was a very decent album, very great album, something you need to go check out. Ignore the hate. Like I said, if you hate this album, I need you to tell me why, because this album was perfect. This album was great. Anyways, the second standard album of the week goes to Words Girl in America by Slayyter. I low key spoiled it when I started to glaze it because I knew I had it on my album of the week. But then I started speaking a little too much and may have spoiled it. But that's besides the point. This was a great album. I'm low key happy that nothing too interesting dropped this week, or else I would not have talked about this album. I would have not visited this album. I'm happy I got the chance to visit it. It was a great album, great listen. If you haven't heard this album yet, go listen to it. Go do yourself a favor. This album was great. And like I said, it has the potential to be the next brat. Hopefully it is the next brat, but if it's not, it's not. But please go listen to this album. It was great. And yeah, those are your 10 albums of the week. Nibiru by Ozuna and Worst Girl in America by Slayyter. And now it is my favorite time of these videos. Yap Time. If you don't know what Yap Time is, I talk about whatever the hell it is I want. Music related, not music related. But before we get into anything, there is something I do need to talk about that is serious. This is the big 30. This is album of the week 30. Been going for 30 weeks, 30 episodes strong. It's going great. But something I've been talking about recently is the decrease of albums that's going to happen, and it's going to go into effect this following week. So at work, I'm starting to get many, many hours of work, and that's good. I need the money. I really need that money. I love that money that I'm getting right now. And thank you to the Lord for giving me all these hours right now. Thank you to Him for giving me the strength to be able to go into work every day. But that also does mean that for you guys here on YouTube, I don't have enough time. Like all of these albums, the main reviews, I had to rush through them. Even though I'm not like the best viewer. I'm not what's his name? I'm not that one bald guy that does music reviews. I'm forgetting his name. But the Needle Drop, I think his name is. I'm not like him. I don't go that deep into reviews, but I wasn't able to go that deep into this week because I worked every day this week but two. And yes, that is normal work hours for any other American. But for where I work, that's not normal. That usually means work's about to start to increase. Hours going to start to increase, and we're going to start closing later in the day. So that does mean that here on YouTube, you will be getting less content. Well, not less content. I still do plan to do gaming videos. I still do plan to do the album of the week. It's just they're not going to be as the gaming videos will probably still be as long because it's not much editing that goes into that. It's mainly just me, cutting out like random stuff, making sure that's all end up well, making sure that it's looking nice for you guys. But for these ones, it's where it'll suffer, right? Um, like today's Saturday, I spent all day doing the background reviews for these albums, which isn't bad until you realize I spent 6 hours listening to music today. And that's not the worst, right? Then I'm blessed to be able to say I've been able to sit down for 6 hours doing nothing but play video games, have music playing in the background, right? To review it for YouTube. But that does overwork me, that does overwhelm me sometimes. And especially that Enoc album by Ozuna. it really did feel like a chore. Like I remember looking back multiple times. I'm like, oh my god, this album isn't over, or oh my god, I missed a song. It wasn't the best. It wasn't worth it. But yeah, going forward, what I'm going to start doing, going forward, starting this week, or at least yeah, starting this week, whatever. There's going to be a delay in decrease in albums. I still don't know exactly how many, right? But it will be a decrease. I don't know if I'm going to decrease it down to five albums per week or six albums per week. I still need to figure it out because my usual number is to go for seven or eight. Like this week, I did eight, but I'm going to need more breathing time for myself because as much as I love doing this, as much as I do enjoy music, there's also other stuff I do enjoy that I have to put to the side because I have to do these reviews. Like I love watching anime. I've fallen behind in every single anime I was watching because, I've had too much work, and as soon as I get out of work, I get home, I'll eat, then I immediately start listening to then I go live on Twitch for an hour. It's usually F1 like you see in the background. Like this was from live stream, right? Most of my clips that you see in the background are from live streams. It's very rare for me to get on and just record without being live on Twitch. But I get home, I do an hour. I usually end around 10 p.m. Then I go ahead, take a shower. I come out. Then I listen to albums all the way till midnight. Then I go to bed, wake up early, head to work. It's just this process where I'm not having time to myself, and that's not something I want, right? Like these past couple months, I was able to do this. I was able to keep up with this pattern because the most hours I was getting at work was 20. But now I'm starting to see my hours going to the 30s. We're going to the 30s and hopefully into the 40s soon, right? So you will be seeing a decrease in albums. And that's something I just need to do so I can make sure to still have time for myself, still have time for my friends, so we to hang out with my friends, still be able to watch animes that I want to watch. She'll be able to read mangas that I want. Be able to be able to play other video games outside F1. Because the thing is, with the reason I do F1 over any other video game is because with F1, I know okay, I'm gonna do this one race. This one race is like it's gonna take me around an hour 20 minutes. I do this, I hop off. Right, I would love to really get home, and be like, oh, I'm gonna play some WWE, I'm gonna play some Fortnite, I'm gonna play some Apex, some Siege, some Helldivers, some Arc Raiders, but I can't because I need to make sure that I'm not spending too much time playing video games, that I'm cooked on albums. So that's something you're gonna start seeing a decrease. You'll find out next week's video, right? So this week's video will be like the last one that reaches this 30-40 minute reach. So keep that in mind. So when the next week's video does come out, you're not like, wait a minute, why are there barely any albums? But I'll also restate it in the intro of next week's album just in case I forget. But yeah, I need to get that out the way. So yeah, there will be a decrease in albums. This is something I've been telling you guys about for these past couple of episodes. I've been saying this all the way back since February, maybe even since January, where I was saying that at some point I will have to start decreasing albums. And here it is. The time that I warned you guys about. The time that I knew was eventually going to come. It is here. Don't worry, it's not permanent. As soon as like work starts slowing down again, where my hours go into the 20s, which that does suck. But when that does happen, I'm able to go back up to 7 and 8 albums per week. But as of right now, they're gonna drop down to 5 or 6 albums per week. I still gotta figure that out. But yeah, main thing out the way. Now let's talk about the athletics. Baseball, MLB has been going on. I've been watching the highlights. I don't watch the full games because they play in Sacramento, and the games start late, and I don't feel like staying up till 1 in the morning watching baseball because baseball's boring. I'm not gonna lie. I do enjoy watching the highlights. They're nice. The entire games, no. So we played the Astros. We won that series. We won it 2-1. Then we played the Yankees out here in New York, which is actually nice. They played out here in New York where I live, right? So the games they were at decent times. So I was able to watch one of the Yankee game and one of the Met games. It was nice to watch games and having them in at reasonable times. And we beat the Yankees 2-1, same thing. The series, we beat the Yankees in the series. And right now we're playing the Mets. We've beat them yesterday. We beat them today. Hopefully, we'll beat them tomorrow, Sunday, and get our first sweep of the year. We're looking good. I think we're looking very good. I have a friend who's a Mets fan, and he's crashing out over there. It's funny seeing him crash out because it's funny watching it from the other side. Because usually I'm the one crashing out to people like, "Oh my God, this team is so fucking ass." I'm talking about the Raiders, right? But this time, like a team I'm watching is actually doing decent, and it feels nice to watch. It feels nice to see it from the other side of the inner zone crashing out. And like I said, hopefully we do sweep them. That'll be nice. I didn't go to any of the games because yeah, of work, the and because I don't drive myself yet. I do plan to get a car soon, hopefully. Like hopefully these summer months do me well and I'm able to pay off the some of the debts that I do have and able to get myself a car. But we're doing good. I don't know who we play after the match. Let me look that up. Athletics schedule. So yeah, we have allow. So we play the Mets Sunday at 1:40 p.m. Hopefully we win that to improve to what? We'd be improving to 8-7. What? We're first in the AL West? No way, we're first in the AL West. No, I thought we were. What, third, second? What? We're first in the season, and I need them from the season. And then now, and then now, and then now, and then now. Are we actually first? No, they have us. Google has us ranked first, but then I go into the Real Sports app and they have us ranked two. I don't know. But we're both 7-7, right? Athletics are 7-7. The Rangers are 7-7. Both 500, right? I don't know why. I don't know what the differences is. The, okay. So I think Google is ranking us based off the win streak because right now we are on a 4-win streak because we beat the Yankees back to back. We beat the Mets back to back. Hopefully we continue that streak. I think that's why Google has us at first, but then Rio has us on second, but the Texans are on a two losing streak. Whatever, I don't really it doesn't really matter. Hopefully they lose their next game. But who do we play after? That's actually why I looked it up. I completely forgot. Athletic schedule. After that we play the Rangers, so it quite literally doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We play the Rangers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then Friday we have the what? Friday, yeah. No, no, I can't read. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we play the Rangers. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday we got the White Sox. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we have the Mariners. Probably goes into yeah. Okay. It doesn't really matter right now. I do hope we do sweep the Mets because I feel like the Rangers are going to be a tougher opponent. Even though the Yankees are supposed to be a tougher opponent, I do think Rangers will be a tougher opponent. But that's something to figure out later. But yeah, it's nice seeing a team of mine do good. Speaking of teams of mine doing good, the Vegas Knights are in the playoffs. Hopefully we can win the Stanley Cup again. We got the new coach, Torto, what's his name? Oh my god. I'm looking at his name, but we got the new coach, and since he's coming, he's been doing well. Aiden Hill, you sir are not the best. Um, I really hope that Hart, I think is the other guy's name. I can't remember. I suck at remembering names. I think Hart is our other goalkeeper. Hopefully, he is able to stay healthy throughout all of the playoffs because he is a very, very much better goalkeeper. And hopefully, we go far. Hopefully, we win it. But I'm just happy. I finally can say I have teams that are doing well. The Athletics are doing good. We're .500, 7-7. The Knights, we just made the playoffs. We beat the Avalanche in overtime. So that's good. We're going great. And then we have the NFL draft coming up. That's next week, right? Right? Yeah, that's next week. It's funny because the week of the 20th, I asked off for the 21st, the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th. So that day I'm only gonna be work. That week I'm only working what, the 20th, the 22nd, and the 27th. Okay, whatever. Um, but yeah, it's looking to be you know. I completely forgot saying, NFL draft. We're getting Fran Mendoza. I just hope that we continue focusing on our O line during the draft. Maybe get a receiver or two, but I think we should focus more on our defense and our O line, right? Hopefully, and hopefully next year is a much better year for us. We obviously have Clint Kubiak, our new coach, and then we have Fernando Mendoza. We have Kirk Cousins coming in to mentor Fernando Mendoza. So things are looking up for the Raiders, but ultimately it's just We have all this off-season hype. It doesn't matter. What truly does matter is when we go into the NFL season. Then after that, we have. Oh, I'm back on Instagram. I'm back on Instagram. That's it. That's all that segment was. And now finally the final segment of Yap Time. The offset stuff. That was something. I don't know if I can say the exact words of what happened, right? If you don't know, he pretty much he oh my I don't make money off these videos anyways. If anything, I'll edit it out. He got shot at the Hard Rock Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Him and Little Yachty apparently got into a scuffle where someone with Little Yachty ended up shooting Offset in his booty, apparently. I don't know if that's true. I don't want to spread false information, but apparently got shot in his booty and okay. He Offset's doing fine. He's recovering slowly. I did see a post on Instagram where he's already back to performing. So hopefully he continues doing well. I really do enjoy Offset music. I know some people that enjoy Offset music. I know some people that don't like his music, right? But hopefully we continue to do good. Hopefully we continue to be, oh, I mean, my fault. Hopefully he continues doing good. Hopefully he recovers well, and whenever he does drop an album, as long as it's not haunted by fame type of bullshit, he'll be fine. Offset, if you're for some reason watching this, drop the Kiari vinyl. I will buy it for whatever price you sell it. I need that album on vinyl. I need that album on vinyl, not DVD. I don't care for CD, DVDs, CD, yeah, CD. I don't care for CDs. I need that shit on vinyl. I'm not trying to buy a bootleg, right? But you're pushing me on buying it to a bootleg. But yeah, that is it. I got nothing else for Yap Time. If there's anything from Yap Time that you should remember, albums are decreasing next week. Videos are decreasing in length. This will be the last 40-minute video you should be getting from me. And that's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And I will see you all, hopefully not in Harry Potter video this Wednesday. Hopefully, because I should get out of work Sunday early, unless I'm not saying. But I should be getting out early. And if all goes well, we should have another Harry Potter video Sunday, and that'll be fun. I've been enjoying the game. And yeah, check out my Twitch, check out my Instagram, check out my Twitch, check out my album of the year. Make sure to check out the partner of the channel. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in whatever video of mine it is that you click. Goodbye.